Ubisoft's conference here at E3 2019. That just got wrapped up. There was some really interesting things that they showed, and there were some things that they didn't show, and we're gonna break it down. We're gonna talk about it. I got my partner in crime again, and with the disembodied voice, just like
Ew.
yesterday, John, aka Enigma. So he's on here to discuss what we just watched here with Ubisoft. And I think we're going to keep following the same format. We'll just kind of give general impressions, kind of a basic overview of our thoughts of the conference here at the beginning. And then after that, we'll start getting into the nitty gritty, start looking at some of these trailers that were shown during the conference, and kind of break those down a little bit further. So, uh, John, let me toss it over to you. What did you think of Ubisoft's conference? Did you like it, not like it? What were kind of your general impressions of the conference?
Reliably weird.
Yes, it's always a good one for the cringe.
Weird, awkward. I thought it was pretty good. They kind of did the same thing, the same kind of pitfall that Microsoft did yesterday, where they essentially just gave like little tidbits and showed short cinematics. We didn't see really much gameplay, which is fine, but they didn't do a great job of explaining stuff either. It's not too dissimilar from Microsoft's was, but I don't know. Like I have a lot of questions about what most of these games are.
Yeah, it was very cinematic heavy again, which seems to be kind of the theme of this conference, which is fine. It's, not the most ideal thing. Ideally, you'd get both, right? You'd get a cinematic trailer, and then you'd also get a gameplay demo or something like that. But for whatever reason, it's just very cinematic heavy this time around. But yeah, I thought it was okay. I mean, like you said, Ubisoft's always good for the cringe and for awkward moments, and this certainly didn't fall short of that. But they had some solid games there. I thought there were some things that they didn't really show a lot of that I was kind of expecting to see more of, which was kind of surprising. But yeah, I mean, I think this is probably one of the weaker ones of the conferences that we've watched so far. But certainly
Agreed.
like wasn't terrible. So um, yeah, should we jump into it? Should we just start going through these things in chronological order?
Let's do it.
Okay. So the first thing that I actually caught, because I actually was a little bit late getting on for the conference, but the first thing that we caught was the Watch Dogs Legion. They showed again, a cinematic trailer for that. I know you and I aren't big into Watch Dogs. The trailer was kind of interesting. They had some different characters and different abilities of each of those characters that they kind of showcased. I mean, it looked good. I mean, it looks like Watch Dogs. It looks kind of, again, more or less of the same stuff. So, it didn't really do a whole lot for me. I don't know what your impressions of the trailer were, though.
Yeah, kind of the same thing. It's I don't know. It's a franchise that never really drew me in and has been pretty up and down. Like Watch Dogs 1 received some pretty heavy criticism. I think 2 was better from what I understood, but um, just never did anything with me. I do like the premise is definitely more interesting to me than the other games. Going with the dystopian future, the old lady just shooting that dude in the face was interesting.
Yeah, it's
Um,
always interesting when old ladies shoot
the
people in the face. So,
yeah, the announcer's use of gangsta was nice and weird. Um, I that was really the one game where they actually like took the time to explain like the setting and stuff. I think I guess they kind of did in Ghost Recon as well, but um, it seems interesting. I just don't know that it's my cup of tea.
yeah. I mean, I'm kind of with you. Like, if you're a Watch Dogs fan, then like go for it. But I mean, there's like better open world kind of Grand Theft Auto type games out there. Grand Theft Auto being one of them. So yeah, I mean, again, it's just kind of, blah for me. So, and not really a whole lot to add there. But one of the other things that we saw after Watch Dogs was actually something kind of interesting, and I wasn't totally clear on what it was even actually as we were watching it, but it was a project that they called Mythic Quest Raven's Banquet, which is actually a TV series that's going to be coming to Apple TV. And I didn't totally quite understand what was going on. It seemed like you maybe caught a little bit more of what that was all about. Maybe do you want to kind of explain what that was and what we were watching there?
Yeah, so it's led by Rob McElhenney, who's one of the masterminds behind It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and he did talk about the EPs from there being a part of it as well, like Charlie Day, and there was another one whose name I can't remember. But the basic premise was that he was the creative director of this game studio launching the biggest MMO RPG in the world, Mythic Quest, and just going through like the trials and tribulations of it. And he had mentioned that they put an emphasis on making it genuine, representing both the game creators and the community. And I mean, I think that I mean, he, at least in my mind, he gets the benefit of the doubt on anything. It definitely was different. I'm not sure that there's been a show like that, at least produced at this type of level. But I'm intrigued. I don't know. It looks interesting, and I mean, they're reliable voices in comedy, so should be good.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, I think that's a good way to put it there. That there were reliable voices in comedy, so that's always good to see. But did you catch? Is it just on Apple TV, or did they say if it's gonna be somewhere else, or is that like an Apple TV exclusive? Because like I know I don't have Apple TV. I don't think you do. I think our buddy David does, but yeah, I didn't catch if it was coming to anywhere else other than Apple TV.
I didn't hear it specified, but I also that wouldn't necessarily mean it's not either. That could just be who's like paying the big bucks right now. Um, I don't know. Hopefully it's not because I am not about to invest in Apple TV or anything to watch it.
Yeah, more subscriptions and everything. I think you were just saying like you canceled your Netflix account recently or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So I don't think you were looking forward to picking up another account on top of that. So
Nope.
so yeah. So it'll be, interesting, something different. You don't really see like a lot of TV, movie stuff talked about here at E3, especially from game developers. So definitely kind of a surprise. It's part of the reason I was confused. I was like, what the freak is this? Like at first I was like, I think I said it in our little chat that we're having. Like, is this a joke? Like I'm not sure if this is like a weird like Ubisoft joke. Like you never know with them, right? So
Yeah.
I was definitely confused there. But yeah. So anyways, kind of interesting, but. So the next thing that they showed was a cinematic for a new Rainbow Six Siege character called the Warden, who essentially is I guess like kind of like a James Bond type like character. I don't know if that's maybe the best way to describe it, but that's kind of the vibe that I got from it. I'm not like a huge Rainbow Six Siege player. I do love the Rainbow Six franchise, and we'll talk about it a little bit more here in a minute because there's actually a new Rainbow Six game coming out. But I know our buddy David plays Rainbow Six Siege a lot, and they've definitely done a good job adding characters throughout the game's life cycle, and it's still a really popular game in esports right now as well. So it's good to see them add another kind of new character, kind of a unique looking character in terms of just what characters look like and how they play in the game, at least as far as I know. So it was kind of interesting there. But do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, it seemed pretty straightforward, just kind of a simple cinematic for a game character edition.
Yeah, I'd say definitely straightforward. And, I'm not entirely sure what, maybe I just wasn't paying close enough attention, but I'm not entirely sure what, like, the catch is to this character, just that he's super sneaky or whatever the case is.
Yeah, just
So,
different abilities and sneaky stuff. I don't know.
yeah, I think, they spent time earlier in the trailer showing him, like, setting up defenses and stuff. Like, everyone knows what Rainbow Six Siege is. You could have used that to actually explain what this guy does, but outside of his silenced pistol. But I know it's a huge game, and I mean, anytime they're continuing to support it, and that's kind of a recurring theme with Ubisoft too, is they're supporting franchises that a lot of which started off struggling as well, which I think is really good. But this one is I've never been too into Siege itself. Never caught me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a really, I don't know, intense game. It's got a really high entry bar to it. So yeah, I mean, I don't blame people for not playing it, but it is pretty fun. It's definitely when you want to play with friends, you want to play with someone that has played the game before, because again, it's got a steep learning curve. So, but yeah, moving along. So the next thing they got into a little bit of was Ghost Recon Breakpoint. That's a new Ghost Recon game coming out here pretty soon. They showed a cinematic trailer in which they focused on kind of the enemies of this new game. Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and so of course you have John Bernthal, who is famously from The Walking Dead, so on and so forth. We've talked about him before, but it's kind of him giving a manifesto to the wolves, or this new enemy group that you're going to be facing, which are ex ghosts, or these ex special forces that you're going to have to fight. It was kind of funny. We were watching the trailer and we were kind of talking in our chat, and I was like, "Is it kind of like weird that I think that these bad guys are like cooler than the actual good guys in the game? Like, I'd rather play as them than than the ghosts, who are just kind of your like, straightforward, typical special forces hoorah guys. Which there's nothing wrong with that, but these guys just seem a little bit more badass. So yeah, nice cinematic trailer. Then they had another cinematic trailer after this one, which they showed the ghost sides of things. Didn't really talk about a whole lot. John Bernthal actually showed up on stage. Didn't get quite the reception that Keanu Reeves had. So if you're, tracking,
He even
pecking,
brought a dog.
yeah, he did bring a dog, which was kind of interesting. I actually even kind of wondered, wonder if that's like a almost like a service dog or something for him, or maybe helps him with anxiety or something like that. Which is fine. It was interesting because
Yeah.
he brought a dog out on stage, and then it wasn't really explained like why there was a dog with him or whatever. So but anyway, so trailer was cool. I'm excited for Ghost Recon Breakpoint. It's a series that I hold dear and close to my heart. So, any thoughts on the trailers? Either this one, the Manifesto trailer, or the other one with the ghosts?
Well, I mean, I think it's good that they're emphasizing the story, which we talked about on the podcast, is something that was kind of lacking from the last game. It was kind of hollow. So I like that they're investing in that, and I agree with you. The villains definitely seem a lot cooler, in my opinion, than just your, as you said, the hurrah guys. I wish that we would have seen at least some gameplay, because I mean, I think with a game like this and kind of the diversity that Ghost Recon has, it's important to see how the game plays as well. Um, but they did also mention, kind of at the end there, that it sounds like it's going to go the Rainbow Six route as well. That they're going to keep it running for a while and add like free updates and more content, to kind of keep it like evergreen in a way.
Right. Yeah.
Although with free content, that's not making money off that. But
Yeah.
and then the last thing, which we were talking about, is kind of strange. The second game we've seen with Terminator in it.
Yeah,
Uh,
like a Terminator pre-bonus or pre-order bonus again, right?
yeah, which is interesting. Like we were chatting and we're like, did the other guys know that they were doing this other game too?
Yo, the Terminator franchise is dropping that bag, man. They're getting in every game possible, and yeah, like we were joking, like if during the Microsoft press conference when Gears of War announced that they were gonna have a Terminator pre-order bonus, if all the other game studios were like, oh crap, like we have a Terminator pre-order bonus. Like, is everybody aware that like everyone else is getting in on this, or is everybody just gonna look like idiots by the end because there's like 20 games with Terminator pre-order bonuses, but. Yeah, that was kind of funny, and just because we had already seen that in this conference, or at least this E3 already, so yeah, definitely funny there. But yeah, the other thing they talked about too, is they actually set up like this new community thing, which I didn't totally understand either.
hmm
But let me see. So they called it, what did they call it? They called it Delta Company, which is some kind of new Ghost Recon community where it's going to bring fans together to connect, place to share their work, like fan art, whatever, have discussions, kind of like a forum almost, and then to give feedback the uh, to the game developers. They didn't really share more than that. Personally, I didn't really know that Ghost Recon had like this huge invested game community. So it seemed kind of odd that they like put a huge emphasis on that. Like, I guess it's cool that they're coming up with something to help their gaming community get together and interact with developers more. But it just seemed kind of like, I don't know, like Ghost Recon just it's kind of, I don't know, like it just doesn't have like a huge following or game community. Like maybe a huge following, but not really like a super active game community, super passionate about it like you'd think for like a World of Warcraft or some of those other games. So, did you have any thoughts on that? I thought that was kind of an interesting little thing that they did there.
Yeah, it's definitely unexpected, and I'm with you. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just ignorant to it because I'm not really big on Ghost Recon in the way that they described, but it did sound like they were describing this place to like talk about and like chat with developers and like you're just describing a forum.
Yeah,
Like this
exactly.
isn't something
Or like a
new.
Discord channel, like Halo set one up the other night. I joined it, and you can get on there and talk about things. So yeah,
Sounds like a riot.
yeah, kind of interesting. So yeah, I don't know, but yeah. So moving on, the next thing they showed was something that they called Tom Clancy's Elite Squad, which was a or I shouldn't say was, is a mobile game. Essentially, I'm not sure. It looks almost like a turn-based strategy game or something of that nature, almost. But essentially, what they're doing is they're cartooning eyes, all these different Tom Clancy game characters, as you'll see here in the trailer, and putting them together in a Rainbow Six esque squad, and then you go out and do whatever you do in this mobile game. So kind of an interesting take. Again, we saw Gears of War kind of heading in this direction, kind of, uh, you know, uh, I don't want to say dumbing down, but lessening the maturity level for the entry point into these franchises. So, some younger populations can get involved, or just kind of the more general population, because these are mature games. Um, not that the cartoonizing of them makes them any less, you know, non-violent. We just saw like this lady throw like a sword or something into that guy's face. So, but anyway, so it's their foray into mobile gaming. Again, I'm not huge into mobile gaming, so I didn't really think anything of it. But I know you're a little bit more into that. Did you have any feelings on that, or did that do anything for you?
I mean, it looks interesting, kind of like Gears of War. I'm not really 100% sure what it is. I mean, I definitely would give it a shot personally. I enjoy mobile gaming, as we talked about yesterday. I wish they'd given something about like if there's some type of demo or beta or release date or something. They just kind of showed that short, as we saw, it was like 30 seconds or a minute trailer.
Yeah,
Um, so hopefully you see more of it.
yeah, yeah, definitely, yeah. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see and get some more information about that moving forward. But the next thing in the conference, Ubisoft never disappointing. We mentioned this earlier
Oh
with
boy.
the cringiness and just awkwardness, and they love their like on-stage live performances. So they had this big reveal for Just Dance 2020 and had these people come out and like panda bears dancing around, people with glowing sticks, and yeah, I mean, I mean they like literally showed nothing of the game, and they just had these people like dancing on stage who like from the beginning when they walked out, they were like out of sync, and I was just like, oh gosh, like here we go again, like just another Ubisoft live performance on stage, and it didn't disappoint. So yeah, I mean, is this like the one game that's really got you hyped? Just Dance 2020. I mean, what are what are your thoughts on that?
I didn't even know it was still a franchise, man.
Oh gosh,
Um,
yeah. Oh, 10 years. It's been going for 10 years. It's been going great.
apparently.
Man, just watching this performance on the video here, this lady's killing it. The fans and
It's so weird, man.
the
Like
sticks
I
and
said it when we were chatting. Like Juju Smith-Schuster is thanking his lucky stars right now. Like, thanks for saving me from like cringiest moment so
yeah,
far.
he was definitely still in the lead, and this topped it. I mean, there was a moment later in the conference too where there was like this really awkward hug on stage and all this, but
That
that lady right
was
there,
great.
she's slaying it. So shout out to her and this guy walking out here underneath the sticks. Just like so bad. Oh
Why?
gosh. And then the panda
Why?
bear and these guys, yeah, it's just a mess. So, anyways, that was fun. Um, so
Oh my.
moving on from that. So then after that, they got into some For Honor stuff. There was a new content addition to For Honor. I can't even quite remember the name of it, but something about shadows and
It was Shadows of the Hitokiri.
yeah, there you go. That and so just a DLC for Honor. We were kind of surprised, like, oh, are people still playing that? Did you have any thoughts on that?
Again, I forgot it was still a game. To be totally honest, not my thing. It looked cool. I liked the setting. The kind of villain they described was cool as well. Like she stole a bunch of souls or some such. I don't know. If you're into it, I think that's a pretty cool reveal. But yeah, I mean they didn't really give too much on it other than that.
Yeah, just if you're a For Honor fan, go check it out. just some more content coming your way. But the next thing that they showed was actually something that I didn't expect to see, and I was really kind of interested in. It's a new Rainbow Six game, and it's titled Rainbow Six Quarantine. So again, just a cinematic trailer. Didn't really give a ton of details about it, other than it's a radically redesigned three-player co-op experience, and it definitely has something to do with zombies and kind of zombie survival stuff. So I'm interested. Again, I'm a huge Rainbow Six guy, and I like the zombies game mode in Call of Duty. So kind of mashing those two worlds together, I think's a cool idea potentially, if executed correctly. And the trailer was really interesting. So yeah, I'm excited to learn more about it. It says it's supposedly being released in early 2020, so we should get some more information here before the end of the year's out. What were your thoughts on that?
It looks intriguing. I'd say it's one of the more intriguing things that they had in the conference. And like you, I wasn't expecting it, especially with them earlier in the conference, adding more support for Siege. Um, I'm not sure what it is really, though. I mean, Rainbow Six fighting a zombie infection, I guess. They're kind of going almost like a Call of Duty route, it felt like a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, the three-player co-op is definitely different, but we usually only play three people, so like that works out perfectly.
Right, yeah, it works great
Um,
for us. We got a crew of three, so it's like, yeah, sure, whatever.
it's definitely like a little weird. Like it's almost always two or four, but they're just like, nah, we're Ubisoft, man. Let's do
Well,
three.
wasn't there like another three-player co-op game that was in the was it Microsoft press conference or some other? I feel like we talked about that yesterday. Um, oh, was it the
Don't
Gears of War
recall.
one? The game mode. Was that?
Was
I
it?
think that was only a three-player co-op too. So,
Or no, it was Doom. It was 2v1.
oh
Was that
yeah,
you're
yeah, that
thinking
too.
of?
Oh, maybe it was both then. I don't know.
Maybe it was both.
Apparently,
There's been so much on
I know
there.
it's been a long couple days, but so apparently, like three-player multiplayer co-op is like the thing. Apparently, the fourth guy, like no one's. Maybe they found out like people are just statistically friends with one less person nowadays, and so like they're like, oh, we don't need like the fourth spot. I don't know, but that's like definitely a trend like we've seen in this conference, which is kind of like a weird trend that we've never seen before. Like historically, I don't think of any three-player co-op games. It's usually like two-player co-op or four. Like there's not really like three, which is like odd. So, anyways,
Apparently, 2019 is the year of the three
hey,
players.
it's the all-seeing number, Kyrie. You know, the all-seeing eye, number three. But yeah, so yeah, but I agree with you. I thought that was like one of the most interesting things of their conference was this Rainbow Six Quarantine. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to learn more about it for sure, for sure. Yeah, anything else you wanted to add there?
No, looks interesting. I hope they do like a beta or something.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be great. We're big fans of betas, so um so
Alphas.
the next bit of stuff that we got into with the conference was they got into a lot of Division 2 stuff. I know I play some of the Division 2. David, our other gaming buddy, him and I play quite a bit of that, but yeah, so we were getting into that and just again some more content addition stuff and so I don't know how much that does for you or anything, but that was something that they showed as well. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's cool that they have a pretty extensive roadmap. I think they went through 3 episodes, and I think the third one was early 2020, if I remember right. I think it was one is soon, two in fall, and three in early 2020. Um, I mean, if you're into it, I think it's cool. They're obviously have a pretty big roadmap. They look pretty diverse, even though they didn't really show anything. They mentioned the first one, you're going to like a presidential compound, and then some kind of random thing about Kenley College I didn't really understand. Um, Two is the Pentagon taking by Black Tusks, and three is a manhunt. So I like they're diversifying. They did mention that they're, the first one going outside the city for the first time, which I assume like the first game is all just inside the city, including the dark zone and everything, I
Yeah, pretty
guess.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, they talk about like going to the zoo and like the Pentagon, which was a really awkward moment of the conference because the guy was like, "Yeah, the Pentagon," and like no one was excited for that. It was just like, "Woo, yeah, like whatever." So
Weird thing to flex on, but all
yeah,
right.
definitely very odd. So, but yeah, I mean, and like one thing too though, like I'm guessing a lot of this stuff's coming with like their season pass, which is really expensive. I looked at it. I can't remember the exact price number off the top of my head, but it's not cheap. So that may be something to look into. Like, don't get too excited yet. If you're a Division Two player, like you may want to go look at how much it's actually going to run you to get involved with this new content. And yeah, I mean, it just looks like just kind of some new play spaces, nothing like super exciting or anything of that nature. So didn't do like a ton for me, but I know like David's gonna be super hyped for it. So, um, so yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, they did mention there's a Netflix movie coming out at some point in the future
yeah,
too.
definitely. Which, yeah, I guess it has Jake Gyllenhaal in it. And it's being directed by David Leitch. I guess that's supposed to get people excited. Uh,
I
yeah,
guess.
like I don't know. We'll see. Like we'll see. Like we'll see. Like video game adaptation movies, I'm not like a fan of, to be honest, for the most part, other than like Mortal Kombat and like maybe like Lara Croft, Tomb Raider stuff. But uh, yeah. So stay tuned and be excited, like we were told about a million times during the Division Two stuff. Um, but yeah, any other stuff you wanted to add on to about the division?
No, not really. Oh, they did mention I think we didn't mention through 13th and the 16th. It is free for everybody, so if you
Yeah,
want to
that's
dip
right.
your toe in and try it out,
Yeah, which is like very that's a significant amount of time. Just a few days. So
that's a
like,
lot of game to pack into
I
three
know,
days.
right? I was just like, you literally can't do anything like in 3 days in that game. So like that's just whatever. But yeah, so you can go do that as well if you'd like. But yeah, so the next thing that they talked about was UPlay, and specifically they announced UPlay Plus, which is you know, shocker, UPlay but like more stuff. Stunner. It's another subscription service, but it is like a more premium version of UPlay. It includes all the new releases, it includes classic games, all that fun stuff. They also set the price point for it, which was $14.99 a month, so it is not cheap. And it will start here
Yeah.
in September of 2019. And then, kind of like one of their big kind of things with it is it's going to be using or compatible with, or I'm not totally sure how it's going to work, but with Google Stadia, which is the Google's game streaming service. And so yeah, I mean, just another subscription service, which is was something that we love to have and throw our money away to. So but yeah, well, like, what were your thoughts on that? Especially someone like you who's just coming off of subscribing to Netflix and getting rid of that subscription.
Yeah, I didn't jump out of my chair for another subscription. Um, I just found it interesting because Ubisoft definitely has some great titles, but for the most part, it's like two or three that I would just buy and like play the crap out of. So I don't necessarily need like that many of them, so to speak. And then I also think, as you mentioned, the price point for a subscription is fairly steep, and especially like compare it to Game Pass Ultimate from Microsoft yesterday, where you get two 100 game catalogs on, one on console, one on PC, and Xbox Live Gold. That's not
Yeah,
great. Um,
yeah,
and like EA's is like $6 too, given they don't have Stadia. But I don't know, it didn't hold up well compared to
yeah,
yesterday.
exactly. And that's what I was thinking. I was like why would I pay for this when I can go get Game Pass and get like way more games? And like, I get it. Like, Ubisoft's got like a pretty healthy, pretty solid library of good games, but it's not anything like having access to thousands of games through Game Pass at comparable or cheaper costs. So yeah, like, just then the whole Stadia thing, like, we don't even know like what Stadia, like, if it's gonna be successful or if it's gonna work or anything, like,
Mhm.
so that really did nothing for me either. So yeah, I mean, I guess like if you're an Ubisoft truther or something, like, go for it, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I rather just like a la carte pick, which games I want to play from their selections and offerings rather than like have another subscription service, especially for $15 a month. Like, that's a ton of money.
Yeah.
So for something like very very specific. So yeah, didn't do a whole lot for me. But yeah, any other thoughts on that?
No, I hope they lower it. I mean, other than that, no, though. Hopefully they realize that maybe that offering isn't quite up to $15,
Yeah,
but we'll
yeah,
see.
we'll see. Yeah, so the next thing, which it was, something we were just so excited about as it was happening. Yeah, again, the guy on the stage was just so hyped. He just got us so hyped about it. But Roller Champions was announced, which essentially is a game trying to break into the Rocket League market by making a roller derby game. Really strange maneuver there. But yeah, roller derby. I know that's been a lifelong dream of yours to fulfill that that career aspiration. So
Always.
this is a big deal. What were your thoughts on Roller Champions?
I mean, it's serving a market that I didn't know
Yeah, who
existed.
knew? Roller derby market. I had no idea.
I yeah, I mean, I guess that if they hit like the same type of addictive gameplay as Rocket League, it might be successful, but I don't really know who they're playing to. I don't think roller derby players are big into gaming usually.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I was very confused by it.
Yeah, I mean jokes aside, like it looks kind of fun, like I just started playing NHL 19 on my Xbox because it's part of it games with gold. And I in the past I've played hockey games on my old PlayStation, and those are fun. It's always fun to like check guys into the walls and stuff like that in hockey games, and Rocket League's fun. So like maybe you combine the two. Roller derby is a little bit like hockey, but like a little bit like Rocket League too. So I don't know. Like maybe it would be fun, and see some of that in the trailer there that we were just watching. But I mean, like overall, it's kind of like I don't know, like great, like roller derby. I don't know. So not anything super exciting to me, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe it'll surprise some people and actually be really really fun to play. So um yeah, so the last thing that we wanted to get to from their press conference was a new game that they announced. And this is from the same studio, the same people that made Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I believe, which is kind of interesting because Assassin's Creed Odyssey hasn't really been out that long. I mean, it's been out for a while, but like not like it's not like been out for like 4 or 5 years or whatever. Uh,
Less than eight.
yeah, so but it is a game in which they talked about like they want to continue to focus on like our history and exploring history, but in this sense they wanted to explore it in a more mythological approach, looking into stories of ancient gods and the tales that we tell kids and we still know and love today. And it's you can tell from the style it's very different from Assassin's Creed, um, but yeah, again, no gameplay really, but they just kind of announced it and showed it. Kind of an interesting looking game. What were your thoughts on what they showed with Gods and Monsters?
So first off, they did announce something about Assassin's Creed that we both missed that we'll talk about in a second here, but um, I'm intrigued. It's not where I would have hoped to put, the makers of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. If I had to pick, I'd say put out another Assassin's Creed game, but I'm guessing they're going. I can't remember with Origins if they did a 2-year gap or not. Um, but I mean, it looks cool. One of the cooler things about Assassin's Creed Odyssey was the mythological things, and you could actually go in and battle like ancient mythological creatures like the Minotaur and the Sphinx and like Cyclops and so on and so forth. So those were super enjoyable. So like I'm already game just because of that. Um, I thought the like graphics looked interesting. It's kind of like semi cell shaded, really like vibrant as we saw in the trailer there. Which I mean, it looks like a ton of fun. Um, I'm still not 100% sure what it really is, but I think it looks like it has some good bones, or at least something good to kind of start off from.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. The art style of it almost was like a Kingdom Hearts type. Not like quite to that extent, but I got a little bit of like vibes just from like the style of it. Kind of
It's a good
kind of like
comparison.
cartoonish, a little bit cel shaded, but not like totally. So yeah, I mean, it looks interesting, kind of an interesting idea. So we'll wait for more details, like we will for a lot of the stuff that we've seen at E3 this year. But yeah, you mentioned that there was some Assassin's Creed stuff earlier that we skipped over. Why don't you fill us in on that?
Yeah, they did do a like Assassin's Creed Symphony performance, and apparently that's a thing that's going on tour, which is cool. But they announced Assassin's Creed Odyssey Story Creator Mode, which is essentially a community tool they're putting out there to allow people to create like entire quest lines, and like you can set up your own dialogue and everything too. The trailer that I watched didn't really explain how that really comes to fruition at all. Like, I mean, the biggest question is if you're setting up your own dialogue, presumably there wouldn't be voiceover, so it'd be text based, which um, isn't bad. But one of my favorite things about Odyssey was the incredible voice
Yeah.
acting. So, like they'll show it here in a second, where you can actually like map out text trees and everything. So I think it's really awesome, in that they kind of mentioned it's going to give people that are kind of budding, or really wanting to get in that space, like give them kind of an opportunity to see behind the curtain and kind of see what you can do. They mentioned that the tools are very similar to what they use as well. So I think it's cool. It'll be interesting to see what comes of it and how that's distributed, because I play on Xbox, and it's seems like something that's going to be like PC type mods, which would kind of suck.
Yeah,
But
definitely. And
you know,
that's a good question. Like, will this be ported into Xbox? Like, how will that work? And it'd be kind of a bummer if it was just, like very PC heavy. But yeah, like I think overall it's like a super cool idea and has like a ton of potential. It's kind of very similar to what the Halo franchise did with Forge. Just kind of
very.
enabling the players to create and to build within the context and the structure of the game that they've already produced. And that really adds a lot, especially to the community aspect of things. And so yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes of that, if it really works, if it you know uh, causes problems, anything like that. But yeah, really really cool idea, I thought, for sure. So okay, well, I think that's pretty much it. Anything else that we skipped over or forgot to talk about or anything like that that's coming to your mind?
They did briefly mention Adventure Time's coming to Brawlhalla, which is kind of like a free open um, Smash
Yeah,
Brothers. So I've never played it. Apparently, 25 million people do,
yeah.
so that's cool.
25 million people are super hyped right now, so
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it. I think we've covered everything else,
yeah,
though.
yeah. I think that was it. So yeah, I mean, just kind of closing thoughts. I thought it was, again, one of the weaker conferences that we've seen so far. It was fine. It was solid. But there's not really anything like super interesting other than like Rainbow Six Quarantine that I'm coming out of this, being really excited about. Would have liked to see more stuff with like Assassin's Creed other than this stuff, even though it is cool. Um, and then Skull and Crossbones did not make an appearance, from what I'm understanding, which is a game that I've been looking forward to. I think you and I both have been looking forward to, and
For like four
yeah, and like
years.
so I don't know, like is it dead? Like is it not happening? Like I don't know. Like I would have expected it to be here in some form or fashion. It was at E3, I think the last 2 years, some in some kind of a way.
Mhm.
So yeah, I guess we'll find out more about that later. I guess I don't know, but so that was disappointing that
Hopefully.
they didn't even talk about that. Um, but yeah, I mean, what were kind of your general kind of closing thoughts on the conference?
Agree with yours, and Ubisoft always keeps things weird, which I guess I appreciate in some
Yeah,
way.
definitely.
But yeah, I mean, if I had to sum it up in one word, it was just kind of confusing. A lot of it. I like you. I think Rainbow Six looked good. I'm interested to see, uh, what happens with Gods and Monsters. Um, I don't know, like a couple things to get excited about, but I agree. Overall, it's just kind of like meh.
Yeah, yeah, just very kind of bland, conference. So, but that's fine. I mean, not every year, every conference is going to be killer. So, but yeah, I think that concludes our stuff for the Ubisoft conference. We'll be uploading this and our other reactionary pieces onto our YouTube channel, so be sure to go check that out. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter at the account at Alpha Build Pod. We'll be tweeting out stuff about E3 and just related content. And anytime we're doing stuff like this, we'll send it out on there as well. But yeah, and then if you want to give a shout out to our Patreon page again, John, that'd be great. Be sure to go check that out. John's got the details on all that stuff though.
Yeah, so you can check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/Black Arrow, and you can join in for as little as $1. If you want to donate more and feeling generous, you can as well. Higher tiers have rewards like additional podcasts, like pre-show and post-show stuff we do, which is sometimes funny, sometimes super weird. Usually
A little bit
funny.
of both, usually.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, a good mixture. It's worth it. And then some other things, Discord access, roles, things like that. So definitely check it out, and we'd appreciate any support and just kind of help us kind of grow and improve production and all
Yeah,
that.
definitely. So, yeah, so thanks for tuning in. Be sure to check us out for more E3 coverage and for more podcast stuff and all that fun stuff. So, till next time, peace.